And it was done usually with the older kids, done for the kids. So the only little different slant that we felt called to do is let the kids, not only the shows are for the kids, but they're by the kids. So that's how G.L.O.W got started. And our mission, and I want to read our key Bible verse because this is where we're coming from here. And it's Matthew 5:14 through 16, where it says, that you are the light of the world, and that don't hide your light, let it shine for all, and let your good deeds glow for all to see, so that they will glorify your heavenly Father. And that's our mission of G.L.O.W, and we want to be able to teach kids to use their talents and gifts to glorify God by using the theater arts. And so as a result, what we're trying to do with these children, not only things that take place on this stage, that, I was going to say, you can see some of the things there. We focus on kids that are kindergarten through 8th grade. We teach them things that happen on the stage, like singing and dancing, signs, rods, all those different kinds of things, but also give them a taste of what can happen behind the scenes, like tech and different things with sound, lighting, even props and costuming. So it's just that whole gamut that we wanted to try to just present to children of that age.
I want to follow up on something Terry Chris said earlier about hearing the audible voice of God. And when that happened to me, Terry, he said, you better go start telling little children Bible stories. And I really thought at the time that was going to be through the children's Sunday school program at my church. But because I didn't have any theater talents whatsoever, I can't even turn the mics on still. My daughter was involved. Again, the children were always welcome. And my daughter had gotten involved in an Easter production at the Fall Branch location. And at that time, I realized that it was more about building a long-term relationship over time with children, not just, the Sunday school children often have their parents with them, but we often get children here in the G.L.O.W program that their parents drop them off at the door because we're free babysitting thanks to somebody's advertising. Stop saying it's free babysitting.
We broke into that.
We did break into that. But anyway, if you need free babysitting, we're here on Saturday mornings. Most Saturday mornings of the school year at 10:30 until 12:30. We start in the fall with what we call our workshop semester, and the kids come in and they take workshop. They can do dance. We take them to the booth. We take them next door to costuming, and we usually have the youth, the high school, and the young adults come in and even lead those workshops for us and help with devotions. And so we have a twofold component to the ministry where we're feeding into our youth and they're feeding into the next generation. And Dawn and I are just kind of overseeing everybody doing that. And then in the spring, usually about January, we have an audition program, audition session for the kids. And they come in, we run it just like a real audition for Billy, and we go into production. And we use our spring semester to prepare for production. We make sure that both sessions are strongly devoted. We have a set time devoted to the devotions, and we really try to wrap those around whatever the kids are learning or how they can go back into their schools and their homes and glow for God. And we will try to do crafts with them or something where they take scripture with them or some idea that will help them remember what we learned in our devotions.
Like I said, we have been having these programs for almost 3 years. We started back in 2013 with just a little preview at Fun Fest. We did some fun shops there just to kind of create some excitement and hopefully let some people know what was coming up. But then we started those things, and I'm not sure if that you all can read all those things, and I'm not going to read it all, but we've done 2 productions, full-length productions, and are in process of another one, which we'll talk more about it a little bit later. But we've also been very fortunate. Billy's allowed us to do pre-shows and Fall Folk Fest and Festival of Trees and just some other opportunities to give kids, for some of them the very first time, a chance to be on the stage.
Some of our highlights from our G.L.O.W program, we have grown to double our number of children in our production this year, so we're very excited about that. Our first production had 25 kids. We're over 50 students K through 8th grade with about 20 more youth helping us, so we're managing about 70 kids in here on Saturday mornings. We have some student writers and directors who helping. We have some student choreographers. We have kids teaching sign, and I don't even know what else going on some mornings. We work with the kids at all levels of theater experience, and a lot of them are like me. They've only been on the stage a few times, and some of them, it's their first time, and they too, Terry asked not to have lines, but we give them some too. We have the teens and the young adults in the program right now who are assistant directing, who are doing choreography and signing. We have tech positions filled by the youth and teens. We have acting, youth and teens. And what we've come to realize is we've become a theater program we can tell the difference when kids have been in G.L.O.W, when they're in Billy's productions, and when they've just come in with their parents because they're here and they're going to be on the show. So we're very excited about the quality of what we see in our kids when they come to audition for Billy or with this show. So.
We both want to talk just a little bit here at the end about what G.L.O.W has meant to us. Some of the things you've seen have been the mechanics and logistics of it, but for both of us, this is truly a God-fulfilled dream. We want to both thank you for allowing us to offer this here, because it truly cannot think of a better place or another place that we would want to do it. There's a lot of other theater programs around, guys. As a parent, we love to go check out those things. We go to a lot of different places and see a lot of different shows, but I can tell you from experience, you don't have to worry about the content of what your kids are hearing or being told when they're here, and that's not the case in some of those other places. So please, if you know of folks in the area with kids this age, get them here, because they're going to hear the gospel. And that's at the bottom line, that's all it's about. It's not about learning. It's fun. Yes, they have a great time to learn things, but at the core of it, it's so that they can know Jesus. And that's what we want to show them. Just as a side note, a lot of those other places offer things like this. They have tracks to learn, theater camps, acting academies, and all of that stuff. Minimum, the cheapest I've ever seen that being offered is like a $200 pop. And that's out of reach for a lot of kids and a lot of families. For here, we open those doors and are able to provide this free of charge. And so we want to keep it that way. And again, by helping support the ministry, it's helping support these kids too.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about the opportunities to minister in this particular program. Of course, we have the audience, and there's no person that comes in here and sees these kids on stage that doesn't leave with their heart glowing. I'm just going to tell you, the audience gets ministered to through these shows. Of course, our cast, again, a lot of our kids now, we've had 2 or 3 years, so we're really able to pour into them and mentor with them and counsel with them. And then we have that youth component that is so awesome that Dawn and I have a generational gap sometimes with the kids, but when a 15 or 16-year-old steps in and talks to you about something, there's not that communication gap that we have. And our youth are so strong because they've been with us or been with Billy, that they know the scripture, they know the right thing to say. And it's just so powerful to see that multi-generational component to the ministry that happens in this program. We also have these opportunities in this program to develop all of our teens and young adults into their theater arts, like directing and writing and teaching. And we want to ask one of our middle school students, who's also Donna's daughter, to come up. She is actually choreographing some of the numbers for our current production. And so Eliza wants to talk to you just a bit about what the ministry means to her.
I think it's really cool that we have the youth in this too. Next year is actually going to be my last official year as a part of the actual cast. But it's nice because after that you can kind of grow into the youth part and become leaders, and they get to do stuff like writing and directing or working with choreography or tech. And so that's really cool that you have that separate youth part of it too. And Ms. Braley's going to come up here and talk about our new show that we're going to be doing. It's called Live. She has actually got to write and direct this one.
Thank you, guys.
Can you push that mic up a little?
That's okay. You don't have to. I'm loud anyways. Growing up is just, I don't know. I've always felt this little tug was. And then, strangely, I ended up here, which is funny because I remember the exact moment. And it's so pivotal. It could have been really pivotal in my life. Because, I don't know if you remember this, we were in the car, and I had just come out of some soccer season, I think it was. And Mom said, so would you rather take dance classes, or would you rather do a show with dancing in it? And I remember thinking over and going, I can either dance, or I can dance and act. So obviously, I'm going to go with the one you can do both at. And so I ended up here, and that was 5 or 6 years ago. And it's just been amazing to be able to grow up here with so many awesome role models that I can really aspire to be like and want to grow to be when I'm older. And then last year, around December, I started to get this idea. I started thinking, hey, this would be a cool idea for a kid's show. So I remember we kind of talked it out, and they said, yeah, that's kind of a good idea. And so then we decided to go to Billy, and I said, I gave him my idea, and I said, Billy, do you think you could write this one for next year? And he went, why don't you write it? And I went, what? I don't write shows. No. And he said, well, why don't you try it, and then I'll look over it. And it was the weirdest sensation, because it was never me. I mean, truly, it did never feel like me. In fact, I had to do it most of the time, like at 2 in the morning when I was so asleep that God could just use my fingers and it just came out. I don't know how, but it did. And it was beautiful because it was God's. And that's what's going to make this one beautiful too. This one actually is really close to my heart because growing up, for a long time I didn't really understand the story of Jesus. Because in my head, it was just a story. It wasn't real to me. And so that's where this show comes from. This show is about a little girl whose dolls get trapped in this other universe, kind of, in a dream. And one of the dolls has to sacrifice herself so that her friends can go home. And the whole point of this and the whole dream behind it was, I want these kids to feel that it's real. Jesus was real. He was a real man. And he died for me. It's not Cinderella. It's not some story that's too old to be true. It happened and it's real. So that's the dream behind the show. I just want kids to understand that it was real, that it happened, and that it happened for them. So, that's all I love.
All right, I'm just going to